Sponsored by Chartered Financial Strategies. You are now watching Tax Bites.
Okay, welcome to another episode of Tax Bites. And this is an episode that's a continuation of that theme of how to get more out of your tax professional. And we're going to highlight maybe the top three or four, I say top three or four, I wouldn't say top three or four, at least three or four complaints or areas of dissatisfaction that clients tend to have in the tax industry. These are things that we discuss, our colleagues discuss at various meetings we have. It's what clients may tell me they have with me, or a prospect has, a client prospect coming in has with their prior tax professional. And I want to clarify some things because a lot of those areas of dissatisfaction would probably ease or be alleviated if some perspective change is made in the client community. It doesn't mean these can't have legitimate issues, don't get me wrong, and we always want to evaluate that as a professional and wanting to serve a client base. But I think the client base also needs to have some reasonable expectations of what they're doing and how they're interacting. And the first one is my client or my tax professional is hard to get hold of, difficult to engage with. And we've talked about a lot of that's probably, if you've gone through those two videos, it'll be pretty obvious is what may be happening in the client community is you're looking for an impromptu appointment. So the questions I'll ask a client prospect is, are you scheduling appointments? Are you making time and being prepared for those appointments? Are you willing to pay a fee for those appointments? Are you looking for premium times only? Like, I don't want to meet with you on a Wednesday when you're available. I need to be on Saturday at 2, otherwise I won't meet with you. And those are really common issues. I've been fired from clients because I won't meet on Saturdays. It says I never will, but I'm going to say if I'm going to meet on Saturday, I'm going to charge you a fee for it. I'm not going to pay the fee, so you're fired. Okay. It's hard for me to take that personally if that's the complaint, is you want that kind of special interaction. So if that's a dissatisfaction, you're saying hard to get a hold of, and in reality it's a convenience focus, or you want free appointments and you're not willing to, that's convenience you're focusing on and not professional engagement. So that's kind of where an area of hard to get a hold of gets qualified with those behaviors when it's really not hard to get a hold of. The second one is all they do is my tax return. Now I've got a whole playlist of videos, hidden risks of tax returns or something like that you can go through for what the risks are. So I don't want to go in great detail on that for time purposes, but this is a woefully understated value and risk in the tax industry, and the client base does not really grasp all the risks that have grown over the last 15 years with third-party reporting and so forth and so forth. So I won't belabor that too much here, but just note if you're saying that, you're probably undervaluing the core service that's being provided to you. So the next question is, are you engaging that process properly? Are you engaging it in a way that makes it rather simple or manageable for the tax professional, or is this procrastination, or is this things drawn out, or extending the return a lot? All those things can drive just doing a return can be more than just doing a return. And so I would question a client who says that's all they do. So the next part, and implied in that is going to be the next question, is really quite honestly is they don't provide any tax advice. They're not really giving any tax counsel. They just do the return. Those are kind of the same thing. One implies the other, but I broke them out purposely because tax advice is separate from tax preparation. You're preparing a return to get compliance and to avoid all that risk that we've talked about and those other things. Tax advice is more proactive discussion. And I'll say this as an example because clients kind of want to merge the two in the same appointment or same interaction, and that's really not how it should be done. I'll compare that to a doctor. You hurt your knee, you go in for a knee injury, the doctor's going to focus on diagnosing the knee, x-rays of the knee, all those things about it. They're not going to talk about you're 30 or 40 pounds overweight in any detail. They may mention your weight. They may mention and say eat right and you get a balanced diet and eat and exercise, but they're not going to give you a detailed dietary list. They're not going to give you a detailed exercise list in that same appointment. Those appointments are going to be separate and probably after the knee is done. So after the tax return is prepared and filed, let's discuss any tax advice you might need. but it's not necessarily during a tax return process. So that's the part there I want to kind of correlate. Also, with regards to tax advice, a lot of what happens is clients will take advice from a random person in their life, and I say random, it may be someone they highly respect, but it's someone at their church, someone at their work, someone their neighborhood. They respect them, but that person has no more tax advice or tax expertise, and they're bringing that random advice into the relationship with a tax professional under the guise that we're not doing something we should be doing. And we are tax experts, so we end up having sometimes to defend our tax expertise, the risk of how to put it on the return, the risk that's going to show up on a return, the implications to you and cost to you for this advice someone's giving you, or the fact that the advice is just out and out wrong. And it becomes that kind of contention there too, is that's brought to the table to bring the concept of they're not giving tax advice. And a lot of times there isn't much more advice to give you. So all that goes in with the same thing of, are you willing to ask for the advice? Are you willing to pay for the advice, get the appointment for the advice, engage in that process? So therein lies, the third one. And the fourth one is kind of obvious. Are you fee conscious? If you're fee conscious, no one's going to probably promote something to you if they're going to always have to negotiate a fee. They're going to lead their business into those who are going to be open to it and not argue fees or debate fees so much. And I'll give a common example of fee dispute. I've had a fee dispute where someone wants to argue my fee on a tax, work or tax prep situation, preparing a return. The tax bill is $15,000 or so. The client says, well, okay, we've got the fee, the invoice from you, all debated and so forth resolved. How can I pay my taxes? Can I pay it with a credit card? And I said, well, yeah, but it's a 2.7%, we'll say roughly 3 for the math, surcharge. The IRS is not going to take that. You're going to pay for it. That's okay. I'll pay for it for the convenience. That's like a $500 fee, right around there. And you're willing to pay $500 for the convenience of paying a credit card, but you want to argue my fee for preparing the return for managing the risk. And so that's where the fee consciousness can be just misaligned in the relationship between tax professional and client that starts mitigating, do I even promote more services because it's going to promote more fee concerns? So those are about 4 things that clients can rethink. If you're feeling you don't have satisfaction with your current tax professional, rethink these things, and you may be able to improve that satisfaction through some of this thought process. So hope this has been insightful and learning. Again, like, share, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.